Breaking tonight, two major political stories with the potential to change the course of this White House race. Both Donald Trump's and Hillary Clinton's teams are in full damage control mode tonight after explosive and potentially campaign-crippling leaks. Plus, deadly Hurricane Matthew posing a new threat as it continues its destructive march up the eastern seaboard tonight. Welcome to a very busy night on the Kelly File, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly on location. You can call it an October surprise times 3. First, Trump's campaign putting out a statement apologizing, which you do not often hear coming from Donald Trump, after the shocking release of an audio recording that captures Mr. Trump making absolutely stunning comments about women about a decade ago.
I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the you can do anything.
The Clinton campaign is also on defense tonight after WikiLeaks puts out excerpts of Mrs. Clinton's well-paid speeches to Wall Street financial firms, which she has refused to make available for months. And now we may know why. Perhaps it's her reference to her desire for, and I quote, open borders. And there's much more from her. But first, we must begin tonight with the life-threatening course of Hurricane Matthew, lashing northeast Florida and Georgia with hurricane-force winds, and Americans are in danger right now. The extreme weather being blamed for at least 5 deaths here in the United States. Earlier, the hurricane weakened to a Cat 2 hurricane, but the National Hurricane Center reminding people that with hundreds of miles of coastline under threat of torrential rain and deadly storm surge, lives remain very much at risk tonight. Just listen to the governors whose states are in that path.
We have seen hurricane-force winds along the coast. The worst effects are still likely to come.
There's nothing certain about this other than the danger.
There is nothing safe about what's getting ready to happen. This is the last time you will hear my voice when I'm asking you to evacuate.
And what we feared is now happening in North Carolina. The immediate concern is now life-threatening rain and water, and I cannot emphasize more life-threatening rain throughout our state.
Rick Reckmuth, our chief meteorologist, is live in the Fox Weather Center tonight. Rick?
A lot going on. We're probably about 50% of the way through this storm, and you think we've been dealing with it for about 36 hours. We have about that long to go before it's off our shore. Hurricane warnings still in effect across northern parts of Florida and now extending all the way up just to the north of Wilmington, North Carolina. We have a long ways to go, and one of the biggest things you just heard the governor of North Carolina talking about is the rainfall totals. And we had incredible flooding just a couple of weeks ago across areas of eastern North Carolina. And so the ground is saturated, the trees are weaker, and we are going to be seeing a lot of rain falling, some spots probably pushing 15 inches. And so this is potentially going to be a catastrophic flooding situation for us across a wide area of South and North Carolina. We still have the storm surge in the short term. The storm's moving to the north, Category 2, right on the border of Category 3, and the pressure is still really low. Meteorologically, that just means it is still a very strong storm, and we're going to watch a lot of water being pushed in across the coast here, especially between Savannah and Charleston. Savannah, you have seen a surge of almost 6 feet, fortunately happening at low tide. It's not going to be the case once we get to Charleston. And because of that, Charleston is expecting to see the second largest or worst flooding situation that they've seen from a storm behind Hurricane Hugo, and that is saying a lot. Here's just how this plays out, Megan. I want to move through the next couple of hours. We have incredible rain overnight across South Carolina in the dark. By the morning, mostly done in Georgia. Throughout the day, it moves into North Carolina, out of South Carolina by, say, around 5 o'clock. And then we have this for Saturday night into Sunday. And finally, by, say, around noon on Sunday, we are done with this. We still have at least 36 hours of this storm across the southeast.
Rick, thank you.
You bet.
Also breaking tonight, just 48 hours out from the next presidential debate, and the Trump campaign is in full damage control mode following a troubling story broken by the Washington Post today. Hours ago, the Post publishing a report along with video of Mr. Trump and NBC's Billy Bush discussing women in what can only be described as vulgar and lewd terms. The video is from 2005. It appears the men did not realize they were being recorded at the time, although clearly they were wearing microphones. Nevertheless, it is causing major controversy tonight, including a call released just moments ago by Republican Senator Mark Kirk asking for Donald Trump to drop out of this race. Trace Gallagher reports from our West Coast newsroom. Trace?
Megyn, this controversial tape has been sitting on a shelf at Access Hollywood for 11 years. The show says it was just this week a producer remembered the Donald Trump segment, and after reviewing the tape, the show says it was working on a story, but somehow the Washington Post got a copy of the tape and broke the story first. On it, Billy Bush, who now works for the Today Show, was about to interview Donald Trump for an Access Hollywood segment. The two men were riding in a bus to the set of the soap opera Days of Our Lives, where Trump was about to do a cameo. Trump was already wearing a microphone, and you can hear him telling Billy Bush about a woman that he wanted to sleep with. It's graphic, but listen.
And I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a but I couldn't get there. And she was married. And all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phone, and she's totally changed her look.
The bus then comes to a stop, and Trump and Bush are about to get off and meet actress Ariane Zucker. But before the doors open, the two men start commenting on the actress's legs and how, quote, hot she is, with Donald Trump saying this, again graphic.
I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the you can do anything.
Trump now says, quote, this was locker room banter, a private conversation that took place many years ago. Bill Clinton has said far worse to me on the golf course, not even close. I apologize if anyone was offended. Trump, of course, has tried to use former President Clinton's infidelity as a campaign issue, accusing Hillary Clinton of being her husband's enabler. Today, Mrs. Clinton retweeted the Washington Post article and added, quote, this is horrific. We cannot allow this man to become president. Democratic VP nominee Tim Kaine said this. Watch.
It makes me sick to my stomach. This is behavior that's just outrageous, and so that there would be a news story that would have more statements like this of this kind, I mean, gosh, I'm sad to say that I'm not surprised.
And Billy Bush said today he's embarrassed and ashamed and acted foolishly by playing along. Megyn.
Trace, thank you. Joining me now, Chris Stirewalt, co-host of Perino and Stirewalt. I'll tell you what. Molly Hemingway is the senior editor at The Federalist. Howie Kurtz is host of Media Buzz on Fox News. And Namiki Konst is host of The Filter on Sirius XM. Just so our viewers know, and this isn't to be salacious, but what Trump said in that clip that we bleeped was that you can do anything you want when you're a star, including grab them by the P word. That word that has been bleeped out is you can grab women by the P word. And, you know, as you look at the statements coming in tonight, Chris Stirewalt, Reince Priebus, no woman should ever be described in these terms or talked about in this manner, ever. Mitt Romney coming out with the harshest condemnation of this, and Paul Ryan, with whom Trump was supposed to attend an event tomorrow in Wisconsin, coming out and saying he is no longer attending tomorrow's event. I'm sickened by what I heard today. This is Speaker of the House. Women are to be championed and revered, not objectified. And he goes on from there. As I mentioned moments ago, Senator Mark Kirk, who has been a Trump critic of Illinois, a Republican, calls on Trump to drop out of this race and for the emergency rules of replacing the nominee to be activated. Give us some perspective on this story.
Well, what you just informed me of with Paul Ryan is a great big deal, Counselor. Paul Ryan has been the example of the Republican Party stalwart who reluctantly walked in the door with Donald Trump and said, okay, we'll have to do this because he's better than Hillary Clinton. Now, obviously, Ryan is taking a substantial risk here because about 40% of the Republican Party is in for Donald Trump no matter what. Remember, these are people who voted for Donald Trump after he said you have to treat women like the S word. This is for Donald Trump. This is voters for Donald Trump who, after you talk about pigs and dogs and on their knees and all of the stuff that he said when he knew he was being recorded. So these are voters who are with him no matter what. Ryan's taking a substantial risk by saying that he won't appear with Trump because that 40% of his own party will turn on him and they're going to tear him apart. So this is a reflection of some real political courage for him to do that.
His statement goes on saying, I hope Mr. Trump treats this situation with the seriousness it deserves and works to demonstrate to the country that he has greater respect for women than this clip suggests. I want to ask you, Molly, you know, Trump says it's locker room talk. It was a private conversation, and that Bill Clinton has said far worse to him on the golf course than we heard in that tape, and says, if I offended anyone, I apologize. Your reaction to this statement?
Well, I always love that apology. If I've offended anyone, then I apologize. That's not an actual apology. At the same time, I'm kind of surprised this is such a big story. Not because it's not horrific, it actually is quite awful, but because I don't really see that much new in the revelations here. I mean, he's written about, in his book, he's talked on Howard Stern about his sexual libertinism, about how he has slept with married women, and people knew this going back years. So a lot of the outrage is somewhat confusing to me. At the same time, it's audio that is, you know, hot mic recorded, so it's a little bit different than the Howard Stern thing. And also just the sheer entitlement that he exhibits, where he just feels like he's entitled as a powerful person to literally grab a woman or whatnot. Now, it is also true what he says, which is that there has been a lot of tolerance for this type of sexual entitlement among powerful people. And if you oppose this type of powerful people having sexual entitlement, there aren't a lot of good options at the top of the ticket for either party.
You know, one of the disturbing parts of the tape, Namiki, is obviously these two are objectifying women, and you know, Billy Bush has come out and said he's embarrassed and he's humiliated and he wishes he had behaved better. But it's the juxtaposition, if I may, between the way they talk about this woman, this actress on whose soap opera Donald Trump is about to appear, as she comes up to the bus, and then when she greets them, you know, the turn of the switch. She has no idea that what they've been saying about her and her body as she walks up, and then the push by Billy Bush to make her hug Trump, who had just been referring to her, you know, just here's a short clip of that.
Hello, how are you? Hi.
Mr. Trump, how
nice
are you?
Seeing you. Terrific.
Pleasure to meet you.
Terrific. You know Billy Bush?
How are you?
Nice to see you. How you doing, Ariane?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Are you ready to be a soap star?
We're ready. Let's go. Make me a soap star.
How about a little hug for the Donald? He just got off the bus.
Would you like a little hug,
Okay,
darling?
absolutely. Melania said this was
Bushy.
okay.
I just got off the bus.
Oh.
Bushy. There we go.
Your thoughts on it?
I mean, this is exactly what so many women are aware of that happens. I mean, yes, it is locker room talk. It is something that was the norm 20, 30, 40 years ago. But in an election like this, when the stakes are so high, when we are so aware of the disconnect that Donald Trump already has with women, that he is down by double digits in comparison to Hillary Clinton with women, even having women so suspicious of Hillary Clinton, distrustful of Hillary Clinton, something like this that shows that juxtaposition, as you just said, just refreshes so many memories that I can bet you every single woman in this country has experienced. And so to see the person who's running to be the leader of the free world, who says that he's so good with women, who's been denying the charges that were made by Alicia Machado the past week and a half, and then this footage comes out, it just reignites all of the suspicions that so many women have felt throughout their careers. And I'm not underplaying this because it is something that we need to have an open conversation about. When men, good-hearted men that we think are good-hearted men, enable conversations like that to exist and don't push back, that's a problem. And that person should not be president.
Howie, already we are seeing pushback by many saying this is not good, but Bill Clinton's been accused of raping women and of sexually assaulting women and of sexually harassing women, and that Hillary's attempt to seem astonished and horrified by this kind of talk doesn't ring true to the critics who believe those stories. In some of those cases, you know, almost seven-figure payouts were made in settlements.
And that's classic political deflection. Let's switch it to Bill Clinton. Look, this is a big problem for Donald Trump. And I've been in the camp that the old Howard Stern interviews and the raunchy talk haven't really made much of an impact because people know that for years and years Donald Trump was a playboy and an entertainer, and he said stuff that he wouldn't have said. He was running for public office. This is different because he starts out talking about he had an unsuccessful attempt to have sex with a married woman. This is after he had married Melania, and also because of the reference when he made the crude reference to you can grab them by the P word. Donald Trump said, when you're a star, they let you do it. We just heard that. You can do anything. That suggests that he feels that, you know, he is entitled to take what he wants. And this is not exactly going to appeal to independent or conservative suburban women who Donald Trump very much needs to appeal to in order to close the gender gap going into this Sunday debate in St. Louis.
Yep. Two things. It's been revealed now that the woman he attempted to have the affair with, who was married, is Nancy O'Dell, reportedly, according to reports that have just broken, that she declined to have an affair with him. But just on the timing, he made these comments when he was married to Melania. The tape does not make clear that his attempt to, you know, sleep with Nancy O'Dell happened while he was married. It makes clear it happened while Nancy was married. Just for the record, that remains unclear. We're going to have much more on this. Panel, thank you.
Thanks, Cal.
Thanks, Megyn.
These guys are coming back in the next block, but the other big breaking story tonight involves new headaches for Hillary Clinton after WikiLeaks reveals some of what she was saying in those paid speeches that she gave to Wall Street firms, the ones she's been trying to keep private since the beginning of this race. Chris and Howie are back in moments with some stunning revelations on what she says in these things. Plus, David Wohl and Matt Bennett will join us on how this might play during Sunday night's debate. Plus, the National Hurricane Center just released some bad news for the folks living in Georgia and the Carolinas. We're back with that on a very, very busy Kelly file just ahead.